All right, we have Commissioner Jerry Hoagland, and we're going to be talking about some of the issues in Collin County and as Collin County moves forward in the future. Thank you very much, sir. Let's talk about economic development. What do you see as your role, and what can you do, or what kind of economic development do you want to bring to Collin County?
Well, the most recent major commitment that we made was to the new TI plant down in Richardson, and we gave them a tax abatement. Collin County did, along with the city of Richardson, the community college, etc. And so I'm very pleased about that because they finally got that plant open now. They're going to be as many as 12 to 1,500 people working there, so it's a job creation play, if you will, and that's the type of thing we want to do. Is something that's going to create jobs and create tax base and create economic vitality for the area. It's not just the 1,200 jobs that TI is going to do. It's all of these little companies that supply Texas Instruments with their needs that they have as a company as well.
Okay. With transportation, probably one of the largest expenses that the county faces every year in its budgeting has got to do with public safety and with the criminal justice system. So my next two questions will be about that. Recent data that I've looked at that comes out of the Texas Department of Public Safety on arrest rates per crime shows that if one were to commit a burglary, for example, in Plano, they'd be 2 or maybe 3 times more likely to be caught, to be actually arrested, than they would be in the more rural areas of the county. In fact, I've had several citizens come up to me and tell me that who own property out in the county, who say they can't leave a house vacant for more than a few days or the copper's gone. And it's a real problem with them. I know some nights we have maybe 1 or 2 sheriff's deputies out there patrolling. Talk to me about what you think the county can do. Should it be looking at the staffing levels in the sheriff's department? Do you think our priorities are right? Do you think they need to be looked at? Do we need to be ramping up in hiring personnel in that department?
Well, we look at it on an annual basis every year when we do the budget. And Sheriff Box, to my recollection, has not come to us and said, hey, I need more people out patrolling. But if he did that, I'm sure he'd get a receptive ear from the Commissioner's Court. But it's probably true that if you commit a crime in Plano, that you're more likely to be placed in jail and caught and everything else, because there's so many sparsely populated area, such a vast area that the sheriff has to cover, and at the same time try to apprehend these criminals. So it's easier to get away and have a lot more ways to get away. So I don't know that we'll ever catch up with a densely populated area like Plano, but maybe we can. It's just something we need to work with the sheriff on.
Thank you. Along the same line, I know, and you know as well, that the state of Texas is, like every other government agency around here, or in the country, is facing budget problems and budget issues, right. And they're looking to save as much money as they can in the next biennium. And it looks to me like, from what I've seen, that one of their priorities is going to be to try to reduce the amount of money that is spent in the state prison system. And the one way they're doing that is to try to find alternatives to putting people in prison. And I think there might be something Collin County needs to look at also, is how do we avoid putting people in our jails that necessarily don't present a danger to us if they're not in that jail? Or how do we prevent people from going in there over and over again? Have you given any thought to alternative sentencing schemes or ways to reduce recidivism? What can the county do to try to to help along that line?
Well, I think there's a lot we can do, and one of the major things I want to try to do is to reduce that recidivism rate during this next term of office. I believe that people get in jail, they get out of jail, they get back in jail, out of jail, it's back and forth. Excuse me, every time that happens, it costs the taxpayers about $3,800. That includes jail time, court time, probation time, all these different costs. So it's very expensive because we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people going into jail every year. So I want to try to reduce that recidivism rate. My feeling is that if we can cut that recidivism rate by 100 people, that's $380,000 of savings that we otherwise would not have had or been able to accomplish. If we can do it 1,000 times, that's $3.8 million. So it becomes very significant when you're talking about thousands of people. And so the question is, how are you going to do that? I want to try to mobilize churches to go in. This will be a voluntary program with those prisoners. We're not forcing anybody to participate in this, but I believe that if we can get these people to become productive members of society by preaching the gospel to them, if you will, through these churches, hopefully we can get them out and get them to be productive members of society. The individuals, when they get out of jail, a lot of times they don't have a car, they don't have a job, they don't have a house to live in. They're on the outs with their spouses, if they have one. They have children involved. It's a very, very complex issue, and something that I don't believe the county itself is well equipped enough to do. I think we've got churches right now that say they want to do that, so I'm going to try to help them with that endeavor.
Okay, interesting. Finally, I'll give you kind of a wide net. I'll cast you a wide net to talk about. And that is, most of the plans, like the mobility plan, is built up to 2030. So that's 20 years from now.
Right.
What is your vision? What do you want to see? Your goal as a county commissioner to try to move the county towards? What do you want Collin County to be like in 2030, 20 years from now?
Well, Bill, we have a difficult time just keeping up with the growth of Collin County. When I first got into office, we were 144,000 people. And today we're 800,000 people. So it's hard to visualize when you're 144,000 going to 800,000. And it's difficult when you're at 800,000 to think about 2 million, but that's where we're headed. So we have to be very proactive. Back to a statement that I made in that earlier segment. We have to be very proactive in our planning efforts to accommodate those people that are coming in. We have to be able to handle transportation needs, all of these different things, water, all these issues that put a strain on the system when these people come in. I believe that is the #1 job of a county commissioner, frankly.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Election day is in about 3 weeks, April 13th, is that right?
Right, that's right.
And good luck to you in your campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you.